What's up, guys, and welcome back to SC AYALA Talk. I'm your host, SC AYALA, and we are on a journey for Lovesick, Pages of a Poetic Heart by yours truly. So, tonight we will be on page 146. The Hardest Thing to Do is the title. And without further ado, let's get started. The hardest thing to do. The hardest thing to do is lay here next to you. Next to you when you don't deserve my love. My love that should be cherished as a gift from the gods above. The hardest thing to do is to place my hands on you. On you as if you are worthy of this touch that can heal the scars placed in your heart and soothe your soul to the depths of its core by a touch that will leave you begging for more. The hardest thing to do is look at you. At you as I once did with hope, love, and adoration. Adoration for all that you did and all that you gave to me while I was your slave. The hardest thing to do is let you go. Go far, get away, to just simply say no more, today is my day. The hardest thing to do isn't hard at all, for I have you to thank you for it all. For the hardest thing to do was simply telling you, I no longer love you. So, that was the hardest thing to do. Again, that's on page 146. And backstory. Okay, so backstory to that. You ever been somewhere with someone and you think it's just not working? Like an epiphany happens. Let me just paint you a picture real quick. You're at a party. You're surrounded by friends, maybe even some family. Could be a family gathering, you know. But for me, it was at a party. And celebrating, I don't know, probably a graduation or something. And across the room, I look over and I see my betrothed. And I realized, like, I don't love this person anymore. I don't need to be here anymore. And this person hasn't been good to me for a long while now. So why am I still here? Why am I still entertaining this relationship? And a lot of times people say, well, you know, relationships have their ups and downs and, you know, it'll get better. You know, you have people that'll tell you, try to be encouraging, and that's all great. But, you know, that gut feeling that we all get, that we all have, like something's just not right. Yeah, it was like that. It was like somebody had hit me in my gut and was just like, no. This is not gonna work. This is not where you need to be. And if you don't get out of this, you're gonna go through some of the same crap you just tried to get away from. So, once again, what do? Well, at that point, you know, the hardest thing wasn't letting go, as some might think. For me, the hardest thing was finding the courage to at least give that person the respect to say why and how come. And for me, it gave me closure. And I'm hoping that's what it gave him too. So that should I ever see him in passing, you know, being in the same city, everybody else says the city's huge. Yeah, that might be the case, but should you ever run into them in passing, you want to be able to at least say, hey, hi, how are you? You know, how you been? Great, you know, that's good. Good to see you. Okay, well, take care. You know, you never want to have that awkward feeling that you see them in daylight, you know, or nighttime, whichever the case, and end up seeing them and feeling like, oh my God, I got to run and hide in the bathroom till they leave the Starbies. You know, that's never a good feeling for either person. But at least, you know, you were adult enough to say, hey, look, you know, I I care about you. I just don't think we should be in us. And I think a lot of times we drag out things as humans, again, the fear of loneliness, the fear of never finding that perfect person, the fear of, well, this feels better than being by myself. And, there's all kinds of reasons and excuses to stay, but I don't think anyone ever says, have the courage to be true to you and put you first and ensure that you're not being, one, taken advantage of, or two, mistreated in any shape, form, or fashion. Why stay in something that's toxic? Why stay in something that hurts you? It's easy to just stay. It's a lot harder to find courage to walk away, and a lot of people stay for the wrong reasons. Circumstances, shelter, security, life insurance, whatever the case might be. It's a lot easier to stay, and I get that. I'm guilty all day long. It's easier to stay for circumstance. It's not the right time. The kids are so young, whatever the case might be. But if you're not married to the person and you don't have children and, the relationship has already ran its course, and again, those red flags pop up and or maybe they haven't popped up and you're just realizing that, I don't want to do this. Maybe he's completely perfect. Maybe she's completely perfect, but it's not a match. And you know this in your heart. Don't drag it on, because then you're not doing them a fair justice of staying out of convenience, because ultimately that's what it's going to be. You stayed because it was convenient, not because of love, not because of anything else. You stayed because they stayed, And who's to say that they wouldn't have left after realizing that you weren't really in love? I think that would be more traumatizing, more hurtful, rather than having the courage just to say, I don't want to be here. I think you're great, but I just don't want to be here. And then go and work on yourself and try to find that something that you feel was off in that relationship. Give yourselves the opportunity to do the healing before getting into any relationship. And if you've done the healing, and maybe, like I said, maybe it's just you don't need to be in a relationship. Remember, there's no rush on this. There's a billion people on the planet. Think about that. If you move to, let's say, move to Africa, you're eventually going to find somebody there. If you move to Australia, you will eventually find someone there. It's just the dynamics, They talk about it all the time. Boy meets girl. Put two in a room long enough, and they're going to find things to talk about. They're going to find things to like about each other. Hell, they're going to find ways to reproduce. It's just the facts. However, give yourself time. Give yourself time so that you're not making the same mistakes over and over again. Have the courage to believe in you, to trust your own instincts, to trust your gut, and to make sure that you're not hurting or harming anyone else's feelings just out of mere convenience. Just have the courage to say, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. And go about yours. Life is full of new opportunities. There are so many things out there that you can do. I know a lot of us go to work and clock out and go home, and that's all we want to do. And unfortunately, that is not all you can do. There are 24 hours in a day. Start your day earlier. Go to the gym at 4 a.m. Be there till 6. You got to be at work by 7:30, 8 o'clock. Guess what? You got time to go home, go grab some Starbies or some breakfast or whatnot. Get showered up, get dressed, and go to work and still be on time. You get off at 4 or 5. Guess what? You have time to go to happy hour if that's your thing. You go to the gym again if that's your thing. Go for a walk, go to yoga, go do whatever it is you like to do. And if you have a second job, then go to your second job. But know that you're doing you because that's what you want to do. No one said you had to do it everyone else's way or do what everyone else is doing. I used to tell my kids, and my kids will tell you, if your friends jump off a bridge, are you going to jump off the bridge too? They'd be like, oh, heck no. Unless you're my younger son. My youngest son, he probably jumped off that bridge 2 or 3 times just to prove a point that he could. But I'm not saying to do any of those things. What I'm saying is don't just do because your best friend got married, so you should get married too. If it doesn't work for you and you're okay just being engaged to someone or being in a relationship, a long-term relationship without that commitment, then that's you. That's who you are. If we all stop just, comparing ourselves to others and just focus on ourselves and, learn to love ourselves and what we like and what we love to do, then I think we'd all be in a better place. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, I think we would all be in a better place. I know for one, I'd probably like a lot more people that way too, because I'd know they had did the healing. I know that they had done the work, and people are just a lot easier to deal with when they've healed. There's a lot of adult children out there. Trust me, I know. And that old saying, it still hits to this day, and the old saying goes, twice a child, once a man. We're children, then we become men and women, and then in our elder years, we become like children again. We need nurturing, we need helping, and that really hits home when I think about it. My parents are getting older, they need more help, as strong as my father is, and will tell you different, he's a proud Hispanic man, as Mexican as they come. I see him and I see how he is. And I can tell you right now, if he needed me night and day, I'd be there. My mom too, and it just goes to show that I still see him and I still see the hurts and the pains that this life has given him over the years. And I know there's some things that he probably has never healed. And some of those things can still be problematic, and he's not the only one. But there's so many people out there that don't get that healing because they just don't, and all I can say is if you want to move forward and something doesn't feel good, like I tell my own, if it doesn't feel good anymore, don't do it. It's as simple as that. Don't do it. And always remember, don't take anything personal, okay? What someone projects towards you is just a reflection of what is being done to them. So keep that in mind. And again, that was the hardest thing to do. Page 146. I am your host, SC AYALA, and this is Lovesick, Pages of a Poetic Heart on SC AYALA Talk. Until next time, remember to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications, and I will talk to you next time.